Hey, hey, one red light. One red light. It's Give Me Play. Here we go. Two red lights. Hey, happy Tuesday. So it's occurred to me that we're going to test this out today, but it's occurred to me that maybe I need to use Zoom to avoid Facebook skipping because we don't have problems with that when I come in with Zoom. So we'll see, like skipping, like it's a CD or something. But you know how it does the thing where it like lags or pauses or whatever. We'll give it a try, see how it goes today. Happy Tuesday. Today we're going to talk about creating business by creating trust. Creating trust to grow your business. I know that there are equine business owners in this group. I know that several of you are in the equine therapy field. That's awesome. Go ahead and say hi when you're popping on. Let's have a conversation, shall we? All right, so today, growing your business with trust. And this is a big thing because we all should be doing what we love to do, not just what we should be doing, right? Should is such a shitty word. We don't want to should on ourselves. We don't want to shit on ourselves by, staying in the lines and doing what people tell us we should do. That's no fucking fun. It sucks really bad. And eventually you feel like you're having your soul sucked out of your body every single day when you go to a god awful job that you just can't fucking stand. Ask me how I know. So, let's talk about growing our businesses with trust. Now, if you're looking to replace your 9 to 5, cool, awesome. Been there, done that. I can totally help you. If you're not looking to replace your 9 to 5 for whatever reason, that is totally fine. We're looking for business growth, and business growth is going to look different to everybody. Just like in the business of equine therapy, being booked out is going to look different for everybody. Leanne has about 6 days a month that she can dedicate to working because she's a mother and a farmer's wife and she has farm responsibilities. She wants to barrel race her own horses. She wants to have time to just hang out with her horses, and she has small children that she wants to be able to enjoy life with, right? And so she only has about 6 days a month that she's going to book out. Her fully booked out looks different than mine because I've got about let's say 20 days that I'm willing to book out. Am I going to book all of them out? No, but I'm willing to if the demand requires it. If there are enough horses that are desperate for me, I will. But that's how big of a difference we're looking at, right? And it also depends on your preference. So no matter what your goals are, we just want to help you reach that goal, right? Whether that's 6 days a month with 6 horses each day, or that's 20 days a month and you really only want to work, 3 horses a day, which is that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Even if you only have 1 day a month that you're willing to dedicate to working in your business with clients, that's totally fine. It's doable. Let's talk about getting there. And so today we're going to keep focused, very micro focused in on client relations, okay, and creating trust. Trust is something that we're going to have throughout every aspect of our business. It's going to play a very important role. You have to trust yourself to show up. You have to trust yourself in the content you produce. You have to trust yourself in the actions that you take while you're working with a particular horse. You have to trust that you're attracting the right kinds of clients. There's so much trust, right? But your clients also have to trust you. The horses you're working with also have to trust you. It's a two-way street, right? So that being said, we are not talking about in-depth, detailed strategy today. We're talking just about this one thing with trust. So if you're looking for more in-depth strategy on, social media content or leaving that 9 to 5, I actually have 2 lead magnets for that, 2 freebies, if you will, for that are created for that specific purpose. So I'm going to get through this training, and then I'll come in and I'll pop links in the comments here. One for ditching your 9 to 5 and one for creating a social media content, okay? Because we have 20 minutes. So let's stay hyper focused on creating trust with our clients. And again, this is going to be both horses and humans, but this is going to be very much specific to your human client. Creating trust with the horse is a little bit different, and again, 20 minutes. So we're not gonna really get into that. And I hope that you already have a little bit of that instilled in you, and that's something that your course went over, because we absolutely do cover that in intuitive equine bodywork certification. Okay, so when we're talking about working and building trust with our clients, if you're in here and you're like, fuck this noise, I'm not running a business, cool, totes, this is still beneficial to you because this is an expectation level that you should have for the people that you will have working on your horse, okay? So there's 6 things that I consider extremely important when we're going to be developing trust and relationship, really, with our human client, with the person that is paying you, with the person that is looking for you, to create results for their horse. We want to have open communication with them. And this is going to be more than just, responding to emails in a timely fashion, though that is extremely important. It's more than that. We want to have open communication, which is going to also require active listening and recognizing that we have to acknowledge here that we're dealing with two people, two beings, the human themselves and the horse, okay? And every horse is going to have their own requirements, just like every human is going to have their own set of expectations. So if we can create open communication with them from the very beginning and use our active listening, put our listening ears on, we can know what they're expecting to get out of the sessions, and we can help them create realistic goals, right? And then we can help them smash those goals. And that is going to be done through education. We have to be open educating them and not just massaging the horse or providing whatever kind of therapy you do and being like, there you go, I did it, check the box, it's done, I did what you paid me to do. It's more than that. We have to be willing to educate them on what's going on with their horse and why. And why. Why is this happening? If you aren't educated and able to explain why their horse is going through what they're going through, red flag. Red flag. And I'm not saying, because there are things where I'm like, listen, I don't know what this is. I cannot explain this to you. That's okay, because I'm being transparent and setting a very high level of integrity when I say, I don't know what this is. You should ask your vet about it. Or, perfect example. I was working on a horse last night. Wonderful, cute, amazing, 29-year-old little halflinger pony. He's such a gentleman, and he's been going through a lot, which is obviously why I was called. And last night was our 3rd session together in about a month, ish. And he had this spot in his crest. So along his neck, about halfway between his ears and his withers, there's this spot that felt very much like a water balloon. That ain't right. That ain't right. And that's not what I've been feeling from him over the last few sessions. So this is new. This is strange. And this client has a holistic medicine veterinarian chiropractor coming out today. And I was like, you need to mention this. And I had her feel down here at the withers, feel up here at the ears, work your way all the way to the middle, and now you feel this, and it's not right. And all I can tell you is that there's fluid here. I'm not a veterinarian. I was not trained in that. I can tell you from my osteopathic background that this is not a typical lymph drainage area where I would expect to find maybe some lymph buildup, where we have found lymph buildup on her horse before in other locations, but they were in places where I was aware of lymph system blockages being a prevalent problem, or could be a prevalent problem. So it just wasn't somewhere I was expecting it. So I said, hey, attention here, ask about this, find out what this is. Because all I know is that we've got some stagnation, we've got some fluid buildup here, and it shouldn't be here. The body's doing it for a reason. I can't tell you more than that, right? And that is okay. That type of education where we can willingly is just be transparent and say, I don't know. You have someone else coming, ask them about it, right? Sometimes it's our job to go on a hunt ourselves and say, I don't know, but I'll find the answer. Other times it's totally okay to be like, you have another professional coming? Great. Can you ask them this? I've done this with several of my clients, and it's always paid off huge. It's one of the reasons why my clients love me, It's one of the things that makes me so valuable is that I say, I don't know. Please ask this question. I give them a very specific question or set of questions to ask their professional that leads to answers that they wouldn't have had any other way. A lot of times I find just about I think every single equine therapist that I have worked with to grow their business has had that moment where they're like, I don't know enough. I don't possibly know enough. Therefore, I can't promote myself. Therefore, I cannot be helpful enough. You know, I say it a lot. You guys have heard me say it. Like, the things that we think we know is what holds us back. Sometimes the things that you think you know, in this case, that you don't in fact know enough. You think that you know that you don't know enough, and therefore you can't do anything. But in reality, not knowing enough leads you to being the curious person that asks the questions that gets the fucking results. Sometimes your value actually comes from what you don't have. You don't have a certain perspective and you become curious enough to find it. You don't have an answer, so you decide to be curious enough to pursue it. That makes you extremely valuable. So, open communication, active listening, which helps us with helping them set realistic goals and smashing them, right? We're educating them through every step of the process, letting them understand what's going on with their horse and why. Because if we know why, we can change the root cause and we can fix it, right? We can be transparent about what we know and what we don't know. And we can have the integrity to stand up and say, I don't know, but I want to find the answer. Or here's some great questions to ask. Have the integrity to be willing to work as a team with other professionals instead of being afraid that you are going to lose value because you're relying on other professionals. Collaboration is the answer. Collaboration is always going to benefit the horse, and that's what we're all here for. So the final thing in this 6-step process is always, always, always trusting yourself in your business to represent yourself through the whole process, right? Because if you don't trust yourself enough to market your business, if you don't trust in yourself enough to get clients and tell them how much you fucking charge and charge what you're worth, then you're not going to set yourself up to be in a position to actually deliver your service, to actually provide the service and help the horses, which is what you set out to do. And if you're not providing the service, then you're not creating this situation where we can have open communication with owners and create active listening and goal setting and education and transparency and integrity. You have to trust yourself. Before you can create trust with anybody else, you have to trust yourself. And this is so fucking true with your horses too, right? And this is a never-ending cycle. Fuck, perfect example. This ended up being the conversation in my coach's training for today, which I was like, of course it is. Alignment for the win. Of course it fucking is. Her telling us, you know, you got to trust yourself. In order to, in the case that we were talking about today, was in order to trust money, you have to be able to trust yourself first. The energy of money, trusting money to come to you, trusting money to support you. And so was it a surprise to me when she said all that? Not at all, because I was planning to tell you that in order to get clients and be the person and be the therapy provider that you want to be, you have to trust yourself first, which is kind of just been the theme in this group, right? You want to create that connection with your horse. You have to trust yourself before you can expect your horse to trust you. So, all that being said, when Leanne came to me for help with her horse, she had no idea that it was going to lead to helping other horses. And it was the impact that she made with her own horse that made her realize the amount of impact that she could make as an equine massage therapist. And my story is similar, right? Like, I started in equine massage because I wanted to help my family's racehorses, because I see them on the track on a regular basis, because I saw how they were performing and wanted to create a situation where they could perform just a little bit better, right? Milliseconds matter. If your horse can make it to the finish line with just his nose crossing first, actually, we I don't know where we saw this. If it was one of our horses, I can't remember now. Like, seriously, when you're in racing and you race the number of horses that we have raced throughout the years and that I have been a part in personally, you see a lot of win photos, right? And so I don't remember if this was a personal win photo, if we have this somewhere in our collection of win photos, or if this was just a win photo we saw on the internet. But if your horse can cross the finish line first and their tongue is sticking out and that's what makes them cross the finish line first, it counts. So I've always just wanted to produce that little bit more, right? Just a little bit more better performance. Anything we can do to make them more efficient. Like, for example, Olympic level swimmers, like, shave their whole fucking body. I don't know if they do or not. At least that's the rumor, right? But, like, why? Because the resistance that their hair creates slows them down. And in racing, like, we have evolved over the years, over the decades, over the century of harness racing from these really big, heavy carts, because that's just what people had, to these purposefully light and aluminum made, very aerodynamic design sulkies to increase performance, to allow the horse to move better, faster, less resistance, all the things, right? And that's what I was after. That's all I wanted to create, was the ability for the horses to perform just a little bit better. It didn't have to be amazingly better, it just had to be a little bit better. And then I worked on my first horse, who was an extremely difficult case, and it did not lead to her performing better. It led to the same thing that she was already facing, which was being retired, being done, because it's just not working for her. But it still increased her quality of life. It made her more comfortable. And that was huge. When I finally got the opportunity to work on the horse that got in the trailer accident, that was looking at being sold to the Amish because he's just not performing, and he'd already been to the top veterinary institute in all of the land, and they were like, meh, he's fine. And when I say that, like, he was also owned by one of the owners of said veterinary clinic. So it's not like they were not pulling out all the stops, right? They're like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. But there's something wrong because he's not performing. When I got to help that horse, and he went from not performing to holy shit winning, fuck, guys, I'm gonna get emotional. That was a dramatic change in life course for him, because it was the difference between being sold to the Amish or God knows where, right? Because we can't control where they all go. But if he's not able to do his job, he can't stay on the farm. If we did that, we would never have space to bring in more resources, right? He was able to continue racing for my family for a couple of years and then turn around and be sold. So not only did his life path change because of my pursuit, but also his value, because we're talking about this as a business. We want to talk about it as a business. We have to remember that our clients also have bills to pay. And when they have performance horses, their performance horses are supposed to be paying bills. So his value went from, they'd invested all this money and made some money with him, but now all of a sudden he's not performing. So now his value is basically zero, negative. They're going to sell him for a few $1,000s, and that's going to be that. To, he was sold for, I don't even remember, tens of thousands. It was more than 10,000. It was multiple tens of thousands. Could have been $20,000, $25,000 that he was sold for. That came into my family after he produced more winnings, right? And then he was able to go out and continue his career and do really well for even longer because of what I did, because of the work that I did. So it's important to grow your business, to show up and to be that healer, to go out there and to help the fucking horses. That's what this is all about. And we have to trust ourselves and create relationships of trust. It helped me that my start involved me being able to work with my family. But I can tell you that I do brag about the fact that my family pays my full rate when I work on their horses, because I'm worth it and because they recognize that my work is worth it and it makes a difference in their horses. But I can tell you that I didn't just get in with them to be able to do that because I asked and we're family. That wasn't it. I had to have long conversations and explain what was going on to them just like I would with any other client, because it's a fucking business. They don't just throw money at me because I'm a family member. It's not how that works. In fact, if anybody works for their family or has worked for family, you understand that the expectation level is higher. When you work for family, you're expected to do more, to be more, right? The expectation level is higher, which is why I kind of call it bragging when I say my family pays my full rate. Because you should get a family discount, right? Yeah, we don't play that game. Because I'm also worth more to my family because they're my family's horses. I'm more invested in them. But anyways, point is, I still had to create that level of trust. I still had to educate along the way, and I had to trust myself to be able to have that conversation. A little bit more so because, again, that level of expectation amongst family is a little bit higher, right? So all in all, we've got to trust ourselves to make the impression, trust ourselves to do the job, trust ourselves to know what comes next. And part of this absolutely comes from the program that you took. If you're doing equine massage specifically, whatever you're doing, whether it's equine massage, whether it's energy work, whether it's PEMF, whatever it is, you should have an ability to explain why something is happening, how your method is going to fix it, and why this is the best way to go about it. If you cannot explain those things, you need more education. And I don't say that lightly, because I'm all about trusting you. And I believe that you already have all the answers. But if you don't have an understanding of what you're doing and how it's making an impact, more education. Ask questions from the people that trained you. If that's not an option, red flag. Right? Okay, so that is why in the intuitive equine bodywork certification program, you have that ability to ask me questions anytime. And also, after you've been certified, you still have continued mentorship. That's why after the certification, there's a whole nother container that you're going to get put into that takes conversations deeper, opens up more conversations about things that we didn't talk about in the certification program, but they are likely to come up in real life, right? Because education should never stop, and you should always have access to a community of body workers and other equine professionals to bounce ideas off of, and that is what this program sets you up for, right? Get you all of that basic certification information, anatomy and function, and obviously massage sequence and whatnot. But then also deeper dives so that we can create better explanations for our clients and things like that. So as always, in addition to the links about growing your business in the chat, I'm going to put the Intuitive Equine Certification Program link down there as well. And also remember that the Intuitive Equine Bodywork Certification Program comes with Keys to the Kingdom Growing Your Business program. Okay, this is the program that I put together after I just slayed my first 8 days in business, making $2,800 in that first 8 days, which was 3 times my weekly salary. This is the same program that Leanne was able to book out her first few months in and create the need for wait lists, and also crush 10K in 4 months, working 6 days a month for Leanne, right? This is the same program that Lisa used to really find herself and set herself apart so that she could feel confident in marketing herself in a sea of body workers, because she's in Florida and it's horse country, but that also means there's a lot of competition, right? Same program that Chris used to attract high level athlete clients out in Iowa, right? Right, Chris, you're in Iowa? Why do I feel like Iowa? It's Iowa. She was super excited to attract some high visibility clients, some elite clients that compete at high levels and are very well known in her area. So that comes with the certification program. If you're like, I don't need to be certified, I'm confident in my education, cool. You can get the keys Keys to the Kingdom program separate. So I will put all the links in the comments. Went a little over today, but it is what it is. So thank you so much for joining me for Tuesday Tales. Be on the lookout. Next week's Tuesday Tales, there will probably be a time adjustment as I try to fit in all of my regular in-person clients on weird days because we're coming up to the holiday season and weather's weird and all the shit. So be on the lookout for that. There's going to be an adjustment to next week's time. But otherwise, I will see you next week.